3. Bill, are we set with the recording?
Yes.
Okay, I see that there. Okay, welcome everyone. I want to start off today's meeting with just a notification in regards to Ansonia. We do have representatives from the city of Ansonia that will be speaking with us a little later on in the agenda. And this will be their initial meeting with the commission. And just as a reminder, I think it would be beneficial to state at the start of today's meeting the goal of the Municipal Finance Advisory Commission, in that the commission collaborates with municipalities appearing before the commission to improve upon their financial condition and fiscal practices by providing recommendations and advice based on the reasons why the municipality is meeting with the commission. This has been a collaborative effort with several municipalities over the past several years, and our approach will be the same with the city of Ansonia, and we do look forward to collaborating with them and evaluating the condition and fiscal practices based on the information and comments and discussion that will unfold at this meeting and in subsequent meetings going forward. And I would also ask that each of the commissioners take an opportunity to introduce themselves for the new representatives again with the city of Ansonia. Tony, do you want to start?
Sure. My name is Tony Genovese. I'm the Administrative Officer and Finance Director for the town of Woodbridge.
Okay. Marcia?
I'm Marcia Marion. I'm a retired partner from a CPA firm, and I'm the Finance Director of the town of Brookfield with a population of about 18,000.
Okay. Becky?
I'm Becky Seelman. I'm a principal and consulting actuary at Milliman, and my specialty is municipal pension and OPEB plans in Connecticut.
Thank you. Ed?
Hi, I'm Ed Sullivan. I'm a CPA with Whittlesey in Hartford.
Okay. And Diane?
Diane Waldron. I'm the comptroller for the city of Bristol.
Okay. Kim?
Good morning. I'm Kimberly Kennison, and I am with the Office of Policy and Management. I am the Chief Financial Officer here, overseeing the Office of Finance, which also oversees the 2 oversight boards, and we support those 2 boards, being the MFAC. And over to you, Chair.
Okay. And I'm Michael LeBlanc. I'm the chair of the MFAC Commission, and I'm currently the Finance Director for the city of Waterbury. Okay. Next is in regards to the approval of the May 7th, 2025 commission meeting minutes. I'll entertain a motion.
I'll move that motion.
Second.
Okay. Any discussion, modifications, or changes? Okay. All those in favor?
Aye.
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 All right, next on the agenda is to spend some time with the municipal audit report submissions update. Some progress has been made since our last meeting, and I'll turn it over to Bill to provide myself and the commissioners with an update.
Yes, so in regards to the 2023 audits, we're just waiting on one municipality, that being the town of Weathersfield. I believe they're projecting a submission by the end of September, but they're here to go over that. For the 2024 audit results, we had 20 reports that were delinquent. 3 of those have been submitted since the July 1 delinquent date. And so we're waiting on 17 reports. There's a table in the packet that we had sent out letters to each of these delinquent municipalities, and they've provided us their projected submission dates, as well as some of the reasons why the reports were late. And if on the following page in your packet, there's a chart that just gives an overall summary of submissions for the last 4 years, 2021 through 2024. And we're doing a little bit better than the prior 2 years, but there's still significant ways for more improvement, just based upon what the history had been before in the earlier years. And that's it.
Okay. All right. Yeah, and we'll look forward to hearing from Weathersfield shortly. Getting that last 2023 report in will be very beneficial, particularly for Kim and her group, as they are unable to finalize the municipal fiscal indicators report. And it's awaiting the submission of Weathersfield's 2023 audit report in order to proceed. So hopefully that will be submitted very shortly. Bill, with the indication that it looks like it should be in by the end of the month.
Hey, Mike, I got a quick question for Bill.
Yes.
So I noticed for the past few years, we were about 30% at the audit submitted on time. It's gone up a little. What's a reasonable expectation that you would have based on prior years?
Prior years, we've been pretty much like 75% of these reports coming in by the December 31st
right. Yeah.
Due date, and typically they never have gone more than 3 months, 3 to 4 months past the that December date. So it's definitely been on the down negative slide the past few years.
Thank you.
Okay. Any other questions in regards to the overall update on the municipal audit reports?
One other thing. Sorry. Go ahead, Marcia.
I just had a question on Hebron that they were out there with no anticipated date. That are they a frequent flyer on being late?
No, if you look at there's a chart of the 20 delinquent reports and how they've what's happened in the past, and if you look for Hebron, they've consistently been one that filed within the extension period, so they're not one of the frequent delinquent municipalities.
And the only thing I was going to add, Mike, if you don't mind, is to make folks aware that we have posted this on our website under the MFAC so that folks understand that we are tracking this for this commission.
And additionally, Kim, do you want to provide an update on the letter that was issued earlier this year to each of the towns?
Sorry, I'm going to tip that to Bill if you're prepared to do that. I wasn't prepared, but we are definitely being a little more proactive versus what we had in the past. It was a little bit more delayed. The commission has asked us to do that, so we make sure that we get some feedback as soon as we're aware that these municipalities are falling. They've completed their last allowable. If they're using the allowable extension dates, which then gets them through the June 30th date. And so we try to make sure that we're getting communication out to them ahead of time and and requesting their deliverable dates. And then we are following up with them periodically. Bill, over to you.
Yeah, so we actually sent out a letter prior to June 30th informing municipalities that the two most common items that meet the MFAC designation criteria are repeated audit findings over multiple years, and of course delinquent audits. So we did send letters out asking towns to be aware of that. Of course, we still had 20 delinquent reports, and we sent those letters out early in the early part of July because we're trying to get them out as soon as possible. And that was sent on behalf of the commission, reiterating, the importance of timely audits, and not only asking for projected 24 audit submission dates, but also that each of the towns, develop plans to ensure that continuing late audits doesn't occur.
Okay.
Chair.
I think we ought to give some consideration to reissuing those letters, perhaps at the 3-month mark from when the original letters were sent out in early July.
Yes, we can do that.
Okay.
Just through the chair,
Diane?
Mike, I just wanted to say, I think these charts are very helpful and they're very telling. And it is concerning to see that there are so many that don't yet have their 2024 audits complete. And I know we'll hear from some later, but not maybe just to research maybe for the future, how many of these communities are like dealing with staffing issues, I guess is a good question. Not for now, but just maybe something to look at down the road if these still continue to be outstanding the next time that we meet. But I think these charts are great.
Yeah, we actually asked for that in the letters, and
Majority.
there were a number that it mentioned staffing as an issue that caused the late reports. But we can get a summary to you also. Yeah, so we'll try to provide a summary on that.
Okay. All right, thank you, Bill. All right, so we're next gonna hear from 3 municipalities, East Lyme, Marlborough, and Weathersfield, in regards to the status of completing and filing their audit reports, with East Lyme for 2024, for Marlborough for 2024, and for Weathersfield for 2023 and 2024. So starting with East Lyme, do we have First Selectman Dan Cunningham and Finance Director Kevin Jervis with us today?
Yes. Good morning, Dan Cunningham, First Selectman.
Good morning.
And I want to say I'm not independent with respect to East Lyme.
Okay.
I'm just going to share my screen here. This are we good to go?
Yes.
Okay. So another quarter, another MFAC meeting. It's good seeing you all. So good news, we did get our 23 audit done since our last meeting. Leslie Zoll and Mike Popham, our auditors, really we spent a lot of time working on our water and sewer assessments and the fixed assets. So we believe we have those 2 items in a good spot. They're ready to roll forward for 24. Our auditors are out here next week to begin 24 field work. So we have an aggressive timeline here of the end of the year to get 2024 done. Leslie, our auditor from CLA, we worked with her on this. I actually had to extend it out a little bit in 26, and the auditors thought we could be a little aggressive and try to get this out for the 12/31 deadline. When you talk about getting us back on time for our audits. The 25 audit, once we get the 24 audit done, the December, January timeframe, we'll begin work on our 25 audit and hopefully have that out before we run out of extensions before that June 30 date. And then hopefully our 26 audit will then be on track. So anything you want to add there, Dan?
Just that, and I think everyone here is aware that we had quite a bit of work to do on the 2023 audit, particularly with the water and sewer department, identifying assets and accounting for them properly. That's been done. So it's going to be a much easier lift in 2024. I'm confident that we'll be able to meet these timelines. We're certainly staffing as necessary to keep up with the pace, and we appreciate the importance of it. And hopefully by 26, we'll be good citizens here on this meeting, and hopefully we'll be on track and on time.
Okay. For the benefit of the commission, do you want to just highlight what the net results were for 2024 in your general fund and what the projection is for 2024? I'm sorry, 2023 and then 2024.
I can. Let me just stop sharing my screen. I'll share one more. Second. So one of the reports I share with my Board of Finance on a monthly basis is our fund balance projection. So the town ended the year for our 23 audit with nearly 16 million in fund balance, which would push us over our target fund balance of 17%. So we did add approximately 760,000 to our general fund balance in that year. We anticipate the unaudited amount will also add over $1 million, about 1.3 to 1.6 million in our 24 audit. And that'll keep us above that target fund balance of 17%. There were some prior period adjustments on our financial statements that was really pertaining to the capital assets. Like we said, we spent a lot of time on the capital assets. I believe there was nearly $80 million of revisions to capital assets. So now that that's been cleaned up, we have a new fixed asset software to track these assets. We're looking at hiring some sort of asset management firm to come in and do a town-wide audit of all our inventory, and then following up and keeping up on that yearly. Does anyone have any questions?
Just looking at the schedule. So for 2026, is your 2026 budget anticipating any use of fund balance?
Yeah, so the past couple of years, it's been use of fund balance is projected at $1 million.
Okay.
And we haven't had to use that. You can see right here, we haven't had to use that. We didn't use it in 22, 23. We don't anticipate using it for 24, but we do anticipate using a piece of it at least for 25. And depending on how, the 26 budget shapes up, depending on how revenues come in, using a piece of it there as well.
Okay. All right, I'm going to open it up to the commissioners. Why don't we start with Diane?
I have no questions. Thank you, Mike.
Okay, and Ed?
I'm glad you talked with your auditors and considering looking at 24 and 25 together and try to make some efficiencies there. So, that's hopefully will happen as you kind of go on. So it seems like with some of the work you've already done, you're going to make the lift for this year a lot easier. So that'd be great. Thanks.
Thank you.
Becky?
I have no questions, Mike.
Okay, and Tony?
I just want to make just comment that looks like you made some good progress based on where we started this journey. So looking forward to seeing you get up and on time.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. Kim?
Yes. Is your auditor with us today? Is Leslie Zoll on the call today?
Yes.
Yes, Leslie.
I'm here.
I
Yes,
think
Kim.
I think it would be helpful, Leslie, if you could confirm if your firm agrees with the timeline and the materials that have been given to you, that this timeline is a realistic timeline for your firm.
So Kim, we're expected to start field work on Monday. We have not yet gotten a trial balance, but once we get the trial balance and see if it's, if it reconciles and it looks good, we're gonna move forward.
Okay, thank you. I just wanted to make sure that everybody is in the right alignment and it's not just a one-way conversation. So thank you.
And Kevin, are things set to go with the trial balance?
Majority of them, yep. I am working tomorrow with our external accountant on wrapping up some open items here.
Okay. All right. Well, we appreciate the updates, and certainly, with the work that's gone into the 2023 audit, it does sound like you'll be able to pick up some momentum, and it would be great if not only locking up 2024, but 2025 shortly thereafter, as you get into the new year. So we're at our November meeting. We'll look forward to an update from you, and hopefully it's an indication that things are tracking well for the issuance before the end of the year.
Great.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Okay, next up we have the town of Marlborough is the town manager, David Porter, and finance director, Linda Savitsky, on the call today.
I am here, David Porter, town manager. Linda is traveling, so she's unable to join us. But thankfully, our terrific audit team, I think I saw both Vanessa and Mike on the call as well.
Okay. All right. Good morning, David. So do you want to start with an update, or do you want to have the auditors speak to it?
Well, I'll start with just a very brief update, and then if it's all right, turn the time over to them to supplement with their own comments.
Okay.
I am pleased to report that we are making terrific progress on 2024. We still owe our auditors the tax collection report and the fixed assets report. We anticipate the tax collection report being done within the next week, possibly two, and the fixed assets shortly thereafter. I'm also aware that our Board of Ed and the business manager there has been submitting requested materials to the auditors and going back and forth. I think that they are also making good progress, but I would defer to our auditors to comment on that. But I am optimistic that we can have our 24 audit done in soon, right? Counting in weeks, not months. And then I feel like we have finally sort of the team and the people in place that we need to roll right into 25, and obviously dependent upon our terrific CLA team's availability, the capacity to get 25 done quickly and get back on track.
Okay. Vanessa, would you like to comment?
Hi, good morning, everyone. So everything that David said is accurate with regard to the open items. So we'll just need once we get those items, we'll just need a couple weeks to look at them, audit them, number one, fit them into our schedule, look at them, audit them, and then into our second review process. So I don't anticipate, I'm hoping with my rose-colored glasses by the end of October would be great. And Mike Popham, you could agree or disagree if you're there.
I agree with everything you said, Vanessa.
Okay, great. Thanks.
What are your thoughts? If that's able to be achieved, when do you anticipate that 2025 would come into play? Would it be before the end of the year, or are we looking at the first quarter of next year?
You asking David or us, Mike?
You guys, Vanessa.
I am not sure. I have not had a conversation with Linda or David about that. Mike Popham, have you talked about 25 yet?
No formal discussions about 25
Okay.
yet.
Yep.
Okay.
One question, Mike, and not to jump, but I would want to piggyback, if you don't mind, off of Vanessa. I think that we heard a report out that previously the fiscal year 25 is supposed to go out to bid, and if the town has to do that, I would recommend that they don't do that, and that you would ask for a waiver or an exception and continue with the same firm for one more year until you're caught up, because I don't think that you're in a position to switch firms when it would be much easier for the town to be able to continue with the same firm for one more year, then start your bid process. It will smooth out the audit process. That's my recommendation if you have any opportunity to do that.
David, can you speak to that?
Yes, that first of all, I thank you, and I think that is sound advice, and that is my intent. So I look forward to having those conversations with Vanessa as the partner for Marlborough. But I agree that catching up is paramount, and that at this stage of the game, continuing with the same firm is wise.
Right. Just to give an opportunity for the commissioners, Tony?
I have no questions, thank you.
Okay. Marcia?
Where do you stand on staffing now with the finance department as far as permanent people versus interim people?
Yeah, so we have the permanent position advertised, and we are having some productive conversations, but the overall the market and the availability of experienced and qualified candidates remains a problem, I think, statewide. So it's not going to be an easy position to fill, but we are trying and remain optimistic.
How about the lower level positions? Do you have the clerks and others that you need?
We are fortunate to have two very capable, both part-time, but very, very capable clerks who, any new finance director would be fortunate to have. And we just concluded a new collective bargaining agreement that for 4 years that I think they are pleased with. So I anticipate, barring some unforeseen personal circumstances, I would anticipate them sticking around, which I'm very pleased about.
Okay, thank you.
Becky?
I have no questions.
Okay. Ed?
Just to echo Kim's comments, I think it makes sense to continue on. I think if you had to go out and do an RFP at this point, you're just going to push the process down several months, which would just be, frustrating probably for everybody in the process. And then secondly, just from a big picture, as you kind of look at things for the department, do you feel like you're overall making progress and moving forward in a positive direction, or do you feel like you're just, kind of treading water here to just kind of keep up with what's going on?
We are undoubtedly making very significant progress. I mean, we're on the verge of finishing our third audit in just over 2 years, including, the first 2 audits covered periods from before I was hired and from which we had limited institutional memory on staff. So they were challenging years to sort of recreate and audit, but with Linda Savitsky's very capable help and with our terrific auditors, we have made extraordinary progress. And then from a staffing perspective, we retained a very capable clerk. We hired a second very capable clerk, And despite the challenging market for finance directors in Connecticut, you know, I don't think that it's necessarily appropriate to have a detailed conversation about internal HR deliberations in a public meeting. But I remain cautiously optimistic that we will be able to attract a qualified candidate and get Marlborough back on track.
Great, thank you.
Okay. Diane?
Just two things. One, I agree with that, Ed and Kim, on the audit. If you can continue that continuity, that would be in your best interest, I think, to get everything done in time. The only other question I had for clarification on the schedule that you gave us, you said the Board of Ed still owes CLA a number of items. Are those still outstanding, or just for clarification that the only two outstanding issues that you have is the tax collector's report and the fixed assets?
I know
Yes,
on the town side, those are the only two. I'll defer to our auditors.
Okay.
Yes, we're still waiting for the Board of Ed items, Diane.
Okay. Do you see that as being an issue to complete the audit?
I am under the impression that they are being worked on, so I don't think it's an issue.
Thank you.
Okay. All right. Well, I thank you all for attending. Certainly, if not October, by our next commission meeting, which is November 19th, we're hopeful that you'll be able to report to us that the audit for 2024 has been submitted.
Thank you.
All right. Next up is the town of Wethersfield. Do we have town manager Presley with us and finance director Michael O'Neill?
Yeah. And yes. Mike, for the record, the town of Wethersfield is a Milliman client.
Okay. Thanks, Becky.
And yes, we are both here.
Okay. All right. Well, welcome. Why don't you start with a status update beginning with the 2023 audit?
Sure. And just I'll just do a quick intro just to remind everyone. Our biggest issue is we've had a lot of staffing issues here in Wethersfield over the last few years in several of the offices related to the finance department, beginning with HR, hiring an HR director in that role. We went through several individuals before we landed on the right person. That's been completely filled, and we've actually added another generalist to that. So that took off a lot of the work that finance had to take over for that. We also had staffing issues in both the assessor's office and the collector's office. Long and short of it is that we've fully staffed both of those offices now. So we feel like we've addressed all our staffing issues. And in addition, we've added, Mike will speak to it, but his finance office has a part-time staffer that will be leaving soon. And we were able to get the council to move that to a full-time position. So that'll help in this capacity as well. So we think we've solved our staffing issue. Now we've just got to do some catch up, and Mike will speak specifically to the 23, 24, and 25 audits. So Mike.
Sure. Good morning, everyone. Mike O'Neill, Director of Finance. We are, for the 23 audit, waiting for a draft. We had a bit of an exchange back and forth several weeks ago with CLA to get some final questions answered and analytical questions and information. But that's, as far as we know, we've given them everything, and we're just waiting for a draft. And I don't expect that that the turnaround on the draft will take too long for us, because we've been focused on this for a while. The 24 audit is, my estimate, about 75% complete. The typical items are still outstanding: tax collector's report, capital assets, and our reconciliation of our medical self-insurance fund. And we are actually spending some effort to take care of some of the same items for fiscal 25, and kind of, fiscal 25 audit PBC list is being addressed as well at the same time. And just in terms of financial results, I'd reported in May on fiscal 23 and 24. Those are quite positive. Just to generalize, we transferred about $800 to $1 million in each of those years to non-lapsing funds, unexpended expenditures, and fund balance was 11 to 12% in both of those years. Town council current policy is 7 to 10%. So we've been at 11 or 12% for the last several years. Fiscal 25, the general fund is closed. Revenues were on budget. We had appropriated $1.8 million of fund balance. We needed to use only $500,000 of that. So the remainder of the balance, the 1.3 million, went to fund balance added to that. And then expenditures were essentially on budget. We transferred about $70,000 to some non-lapsing funds, but we had significant overages in legal expenses, in electric, and in overtime. So we did not see those unexpended appropriations that we've seen in the last few years. But nonetheless, we added to fund balance, and we're still, by our projection, at about 11% on fund balance.
Okay. Vanessa, what are your thoughts as far as the timeline for the issuance of the final report for 2023?
So Mike is correct. We do have the bulk of the items from Weathersfield. We just have to find a little time to work on it. So I'm hoping to get them a draft by the end of the month. We just have some footnotes that are open, but that won't hold up a draft. We do still need the preliminary governance letter to be issued to the town council in order to issue our audit. And some of the expenditures change for the state single audit. So we still have to test, I think, just one more program. But I don't think that, I'm sure that will happen by the time we issue. I'm hoping again for a October 31st issuance.
Okay, and what are your thoughts as far as 2024? Will that fit into the calendar starting right after the issuance of 2023?
So Mike stated, I think he's 75% complete with getting the audit items to us. So I don't know Mike LeBlanc until Mike O'Neill, gets that stuff to us. It's hard to comment on that. And it's, the heat of our busy season at CLA. So it's hard to predict anything without having a final trial balance.
Mike, what are your thoughts as far as kind of on a parallel track, with, the rest of September, October, getting the last 25%, if you will, put together?
I think it's realistic for us. That's our goal, is to have everything in place. We really don't want to go into another audit with big items outstanding. Vanessa and I have not discussed 24 at all, because we've been focused on 23. But I think the end of October is very realistic for us to get through all of those things. And, just to answer the same question for 25, like I said, we're nursing 25 along as well, and we would hope to have all of those items done by the end of December. Again, so we'd be ready to do an audit, later in the fall here for 24. It just depends on, I totally understand where CLA is on all of this. So, but again, we're good. We reconcile bank accounts within 2 weeks, a month end. We, like I said, for 25, we reported to town council last month on the final results for the general fund. We're very clean on that. And as Fred said, we're staffed up. It's just the backlog of all those, additional things that we have to do, to get materials ready for the audit report.
Okay. Yeah, and included in our packets was the information that you provided an overview on in regards to the unaudited results. So from that standpoint, certainly the results they look good.
Yep.
Okay. I'll open it up to the commissioners. Tony?
Yes, thanks. Mike, do you feel, oh, excuse me. Sorry about that. Do you feel with the current staffing levels that just that you're making good progress and that can you see sort of the light at the end of the tunnel here, that you feel eventually you'll be back on a regular schedule, or do you think you have the staff for that?
Yes. Yeah. Like Fred said, we're lean across the board here, but we've added significantly in the last couple of years to HR and to, like Fred said, finance. We've upgraded that position to a full-time position. It's not filled yet. We still have our part-timer working, but we're in good shape. Tax collector's office was down from 3 to 1 person, and our collector was out. She was on sick leave last summer. That's been filled for a year now, and assessor's office is full. So things are very stable in terms of staffing. And the only position we're working on is the one here in finance to upgrade that.
That's good. That's good to hear. I know sometimes filling those positions can be challenging. So I'm glad you made some progress there. Thank you.
Good.
Okay. Marcia?
Your target fund balances seem a little bit low, but it sounds like that's being offset by the non-lapsing fund. What do you have in your non-lapsing fund?
Well, our non-lapsing funds, our capital and capital non-recurring funds, are where we transfer unexpended balances. The council does, at the end of the year. We're not relying on those reserve balances to, the reserve balances I cited are just the general fund balance, which are 11, 12%. They're 11% now, and our policy is 7 to 10%.
But do you have money built up in those non-lapsing accounts in the capital, or do you spend it the next year?
Well, those are capital funds. So there's reserves there, money that's been appropriated for projects that are in process.
Thank you.
Okay, Ed?
Just clarify, you expect 23 by the end of October? Is that what I think you were saying?
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. And Diane?
No questions. Everything's been covered. Thank you.
Okay. Kim?
One last question, and that is about, thank you, Ed, for the clarity. I think originally our materials had said that the audit would be coming in at the end of this month, but it seems like there is some further delay, so it'll come in at the end of October. In your experiences, as I look at the timeline of your audits being delivered and with CLA on the line and their workload, I heard an estimate of December 31st for 20 to issue the 2024, and based on experience, I don't think that that's going to be a realistic date. I really think that that's going to tip into next year, and I would want to.
That's not what I said.
No, this is okay. So that's what I had in here listed. So I just wanted to make sure that I understood clarity between the two. That do we think that I think 24 isn't going to be issued until 2026 is going to be based on how long it takes to turn over an audit. But I will throw that back at you, Michael.
Yeah, I'll reiterate. Maybe I wasn't clear. Vanessa and I have not talked about 24 or 25, obviously.
Okay.
I prefer not to get CLA here on the ground until we have everything for them. That's just been part of what has dragged this on the past couple of years. So I would like to have everything prepared the day that CLA comes in. I believe for 24, we can get to that point by the end of October. And I believe that for 25, we can get to that point by the end of December. When the field work will be done for either of those years is a question for another day. But that's how we are proceeding here. We want to get this backlog of extra work that we have off of, out of our, we want to get it off our plates here in the finance department because, we get to December, we want to start working on the budget. We just do not want to have these things hanging over our heads. So that's our goal. When we do the field work is something that we'll work out with CLA, after we get the 23 audit, issued and behind us.
Okay. So we did hear the end of October for completion of 23.
And completion is just the
Issuance
of the report. I mean, I think
issuance.
that Vanessa and I discussed the draft, which we haven't seen yet, but we'll have a draft in a week or two, I believe, right, Vanessa?
I'm hoping, Mike, yes.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you.
All right, thank you for the updates. As I mentioned, I think at the onset, it's the 2023 report is hanging up OPM from moving forward with the municipal fiscal indicators. So it'd really be great if that can be just a top priority to get that issued as soon as possible. Mike, I think, it'd be great if you can, have the department situated where, everything's ready to go and it's just a matter of waiting for Vanessa and her team to fit it into their schedule.
Agreed.
Okay. All right. And, I would imagine at our November meeting, we'll certainly, I would like to expect that we'll hear good news that 2023 is behind you and you're just about there with getting ready for 2024.
That's the plan.
Okay. All right. Thank you both.
Thanks, everyone.
Okay. Next on the agenda is the City of Ansonia. And I believe we have Mayor Cassetti and Finance Director Kurt Miller on the call with us today.
And Mike, for the record, the City of Ansonia is a Milliman client.
Okay. Kim, Bill, do you have anything before we dive in?
I do
Okay.
not. But I did not hear that they're with us.
Good
Oh,
morning,
there. I see Kurt. I see Kurt.
Christina. How do you
Hi.
do this?
Mr.
Hi,
Chairman,
Mayor.
we have two prepared statements, one from the mayor, one from myself. Just
How do I
introduce
get the
ourselves
picture up
to the
there?
commission, and then at that point, we'll avail ourselves
Good cursor. How do I get
to
up
the
there?
group. So, Mayor,
The
when
mayor's
you're ready,
having
if you'd like to begin.
Good
He has
morning. Could
he's
everybody
having
hear
some
me?
trouble.
Yes, we can hear you, Mayor.
Good morning. Good morning, Chairman LeBlanc and members of the commission. First, thank you for the important work you do. The Municipal Finance Advisory Commission plays a vital role in ensuring stability and accountability for cities and towns across Connecticut, and we deeply value your expertise and guidance. Now, we all know the political maneuvering that put Ansonia here. This was not about financial necessity, but about politics. But what matters is that we are here, and that's an opportunity to highlight the strength of Ansonia's progress and an opportunity to learn from the commission's experience so that we could continue to improve. We are proud of the work our team has done, and we know we can always be better. My staff and I are available at any time to answer your questions and provide any information you need. Together, I believe this partnership will only make Ansonia stronger. At this time, I'd like to turn it over to our Budget Director, Kurt Miller, and our finance team, who will continue the conversation and provide more details on our financial position. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mayor. Good morning, Mr. Chairman and members of the commission and staff. Continuing Mayor Cassetti's thoughts, on behalf of myself, the Ansonia Finance Team, and the residents of the City of Ansonia, I want to begin by thanking you for the opportunity to be here today. We deeply value the role of the Municipal Finance Advisory Commission and the important work that you do, not only in reviewing municipal audit standards, but also in working directly with communities referred by OPM to strengthen their financial condition. Your efforts have a lasting impact on financial stability across Connecticut, and Ansonia recognizes that contribution. I also want to be candid. By statute, as you all know, there are 7 criteria for referral to this commission. Ansonia met only 1: material or significant audit findings reported in each of the last 2 years. These findings were not the result of structural fiscal weakness, but operational challenges, staffing shortages, and outdated systems that made it difficult to keep pace with reporting requirements. Those situations have been corrected. Our finance team is fully staffed, our systems have been upgraded, and most importantly, the integration between the Board of Education and city finance systems have been strengthened to allow for more effective and accurate exchange of data. These improvements mean we can submit the required audit information consistently and on time. Our auditor, who is here with us today, can confirm these changes. In fact, Ansonia is on track to submit its fiscal 25 audit before the statutory deadline of December 31st. That is an important milestone and a clear signal that we are meeting expectations and adopting best practices. Let me also be clear. We know this commission did not play a role in the political maneuvering that led to our appearance here. The legislation that singled out Ansonia was a product of politics. We know that this commission is not political. You are here for one purpose: to help cities and towns strengthen their fiscal practice. We respect that, and we want you to know that we view you not as an obstacle, but as a resource, a partner, and an advocate for strong, transparent fiscal management. We also know that Ansonia is officially designated a distressed municipality in Connecticut. The median household income in our city is a little above $80,600. Yet 12% of our residents live below the federal poverty line, and another 39% fall into the ALICE category. This means that more than half of Ansonia households struggle to make ends meet. These realities underscore why strong fiscal management is not optional, it's essential. Our residents rely on us to make every dollar count, to protect public trust, and to seize every opportunity to strengthen the city's overall position. That is why we have brought with us today a team prepared to answer your questions fully and directly. From our finance department, we have Kim DiStefano. From our Board of Education leadership team, we have Rich Bashera. And from our auditing firm, we have John Acavella. We also have several other staff members on the call should they be needed, including our superintendent and our city's chief operating officer. They are here so that when questions arise, they can be addressed immediately with facts, context, and supporting documentation if necessary. Ansonia does not view this process as a check-the-box exercise. We view it as a real opportunity for dialogue, for improvement, and for building long-term confidence. Our financial team and our elected officials are committed to transparency and continuous improvement. We are confident in the progress, that we have made, and the stability of our fiscal position and our ability to meet the expectations of this commission. Most importantly, we look forward to working with you, not just today, but in the months and the years ahead. We recognize the commission as a partner in strengthening municipal finance across Connecticut. We know that you are here to help, and we are here to listen, to learn, and to put your feedback into practice. Your guidance will make us stronger, and we welcome it wholeheartedly. These discussions are not only about today, but they are about tomorrow. They are about ensuring long-term fiscal health for our community, demonstrating our accountability, and providing the residents of Ansonia with confidence in their government. Positive interactions with this commission will deliver benefits well beyond this meeting by reinforcing our systems and our practices for the future. So while politics may have played a role in how we arrived here, professionalism will guide how we move forward. We look forward to engaging with you in a way that is productive, respectful, and focused on what truly matters, delivering strong, transparent, and responsible financial management for the people that we serve. Together, I'm confident that we can achieve that. So with that, Mr. Chairman, I'll avail myself and the staff to you and to the commission to any questions or concerns, comments that you may have. We weren't 100% sure how this was going to go, so we tried to prepare as much as we could, try to have as many people here to answer questions. And then obviously, as we get into more meetings, we'll probably pare that down a little bit and make it a little more streamlined. But again, we're here to avail ourselves of this commission and to learn some best practices and to grow. So with that, Mr. Chairman, I'll turn it back to you.
Okay, thank you. I think since we've spent the better part of the morning in regards to the issuance of audits and maybe in combination with yourself, Kurt, and your finance director and your auditor, can you lay out for us what the anticipated timeline is as far as closing the books on 2025 and when the auditors are anticipated to be in for field work?
I'll defer that for a little bit more depth to Kim DiStefano. But again, we're targeting the week of September 22nd to have the auditors in for field work. But Kim, if you want to jump in and give some more specifics, I know you gave a report yesterday.
Sure. Hello, everyone. Good morning. I'm Kim DiStefano from City of Ansonia. I'm in the acting comptroller, assistant comptroller / our audit is up and running much earlier than we were able to get it last year, which we're all very happy about. They were out at the Board of Ed yesterday doing field work, doing testing. They plan to come to the city in the next couple of weeks. We were able to upload a lot of items for them to begin their testing, which included samples from the assessor, items from WPCA, bank statements, all those type of things that they need to preliminarily start the audit itself on our side, on the city side. So I sent an email to John yesterday requesting a date that they'd like to come out and do some field work on the city side now that they've started the Board of Ed side. So in terms of this year, we are ahead of schedule, which is good. Everybody is working very hard and want this to be done and filed by December 31st at the latest.
John, did you want to speak to that? Is that in line with your expectations? I think you're on mute, John. Okay. We can certainly give them a moment. Do you have preliminary results, estimated results for 2025 at this time?
We do. Kim?
Okay. Do you want to speak to that?
Yeah. We anticipate being in good shape for the end of the year. With the WPCA sale, that will increase our fund balance. There were some items that were used from there for rate stabilization funds, things like that. Carport project, a few other approved projects. The rest of it will end up in the city's fund balance at the end of the year. So we expect to be in a very good situation by June of 30th, 2025's audit. At this time, we don't have a verified number until we do have the audit closer to a preliminary draft. But for now, we're doing well. Things have improved, and
in regards to that sale, has the associated debt been paid off? Is that did that happen in fiscal year 2025?
It did.
Yes.
We were able to make payment on that and pay off all we had 2 bonds out there for the Clean Water Fund. one for the project itself and one that had been there prior to that, before we had restructured down at the WPCA, the facility itself. So we had 2 bonds that we paid off. They were paid early, and that was a good thing.
And just something you had mentioned in regards to the rate stabilization, did you leave some of the proceeds in the Water Pollution Control Fund for that purpose?
I'm sorry, say that again?
Did you leave some of the proceeds in the Water Pollution Control Fund for rate stabilization?
On the recommendation of the auditor, he had suggested putting that into a separate fund, since that's going to be used over a period of 10 years. So we have set up a separate fund, it was $7 million that had been allocated for that. So move that into a separate fund also within 24-25, so that will be able to be used in the next 10 years.
Okay. Okay. All right. With that, I'm going to open it up to the commissioners. Diane, do you want to start?
Sure, but I have no questions.
Okay. Ed? Did we lose you?
Yep, there I am. So you mentioned you had significant proceeds from the sale and transfer to use it for some other purposes, and some was going to be added to the fund balance. Do you have an idea of how much you think is going to increase the fund balance?
At this point, I don't have a good estimate. I mean, the sale itself less, I mean, there's quite a sizable amount that will be moved into the fund balance. But until we really get into the audit, I can't verify how much that will be.
Okay. And then I think some of the materials you presented, the revenue report for 24-25, there were just 2 items I just had questions about. One was called fund balance as income revenue, which was about $4.4 million. And then there was use of future revenue of $7,400,000. I wasn't quite sure what those were.
Yeah, I'll address those two. The fund balance one is, as stated, the use of future revenue were projections of a project that we have going on. It is an energy efficiency project where we have almost 4 megawatts of power from fuel cells, and a corresponding economic development project that goes along with it. We are in the process of moving those along. We had put that in there to try to provide some cost savings for the residents, with the understanding that we could use some sale of the WPCA funds to backstop that should it be needed. We have a plan in place to back that number down over 3 years in correspondence with additional revenue coming on with this project.
Okay, so that's the 7 million. So if that doesn't come to fruition, you're going to use the amount from WPC funds.
Yeah, whether we will be able to back out of that 7 million in 3 years, regardless of the project. So that's the goal. If the project comes online faster, we'll be able to get out of that quicker. We have step downs in fiscal 27 and 28 with the projection of no use of that revenue in fiscal 29.
Okay, and then the fund balance is income. I'm sorry, you might have said that. Just those 4.4 million roughly.
Yes, and I think a lot of that was just transfer for capital projects and things. Kim can speak to the specifics of that. But for fiscal 25, there was a lot of money coming in, a lot of money moving because of the sale of the WPCA, trying to get those funds where they needed to be and moved in the appropriate places. They were all moved through the general fund and moved to those spots. Kim can speak into more specifics, and it looks like John is off mute now, so he can chime in as well.
Yeah, John, we were previously just looking for confirmation on the anticipated timeline for field work and issuance of the 2025 audit. Okay.
The mute symbol is gone, but I'm not sure why you can't hear us. So.
Okay. All right. And then circling back to Ed, Ed, did you have anything further?
No, I'm good. Thank you.
And Becky, you had indicated you have a conflict on this one.
Yes, I do. I don't have any questions.
Okay. And Marcia?
I was also looking at that in the 26 budget, you have 5.2 million for use of future revenue. What have you collected on that year to date?
To now, as of now, nothing.
Right. And do you have a long-term budget that would go out 5 to 10 years to, because there is a lot of moving parts, as you said, on this current year. Do you have something that would go out at least 5 years to show how it's all going to come together?
I have through fiscal 2030, which encompasses the length of the projected plan. And also should give the economic development project time to be fully up and running and established and producing revenue.
Can you share that with us for the next meeting?
Absolutely. I can get that over to you. Not a problem.
And then the last one is staffing, that Kim said that she was the acting comptroller. Where do you stand on your staffing?
We are fully staffed. It's just titles and how they're done. Some of it has to do with the internal workings of union contracts and things like that. So that's why the label is there. The municipal staff is full. They are seasoned. They've been together now for a few years. On the Board of Ed side, we had some issues with staffing. We had brought on a business manager who was going to lead us through this transition. Well respected, unfortunately got sick and ultimately passed away. So we kind of put us behind the 8 ball. Well, we needed to bring a person in. That person was not with us that long. We now have a new person that has been established, is working hard. So the Board of Education staff is now fully up to snuff. So on the staffing end of things, we're 100% where we need to be and proceeding in a good direction.
All right. And do you expect the comments that you received last year will be cleared this year? That the management comments?
I do strongly believe that, yes. One of the other issues was just some of the system changes that needed to be put in place. And when that person that was hired, that was going to be his charge to lead us through that. Rick Belden, I'm sure a lot of you have known or worked with Rick in the past. Extremely experienced, extremely capable individual, but unfortunately, he was only with us for a short period of time before he got sick. So that put a damper on that. But we have now been able to work through that, get all those systems up to speed. Everything is working well, and we're seeing this year just the difference in how quickly we're able to turn information around and get the necessary things that John and his team need to get the audit out the door. So we are projecting, as Kim mentioned, that the audit will be done before December 31st, which should address that one specific issue.
Thank you.
Okay. And Tony?
So my questions were also about the use of future revenue. So I think it would be very helpful to have a schedule on that and what your contingency plan is in case that doesn't happen, or you have some, doesn't happen as planned. I would also, because it looks like you're about 8% on your fund balance. That's for 24. So I would be concerned that can have a significant impact on your fund balance if, so I think it'd be helpful to see that, I guess is my point.
Yep, not a problem. We can send that over, and then we can also send over all of the updated fund balance information, designated, undesignated, so you can see what we have put aside and where.
That'd be very
And
helpful. That's very helpful. Thank you.
Absolutely.
My other two questions are just a process question. I noticed in your revenue report, you had large transfers for blight fees and private duty fees. I was just curious as to what the process is surrounding those.
I'll let Kim speak to those.
Okay. Our private duty is billed out to whatever the people like the electrical company, things like that, that require police services on certain jobs. So that item, we project at the budget time how much we think it may be. But over time, a lot of times there's a lot of ongoing road projects and things like that in town. So what we need to do is go back to Bo and the Board of Aldermen to just request that both the expense and the revenue side of the private duty be increased. So it just basically keeps everything in line.
Similar to probably similar with blight. I would assume it's the same sort of process.
Blight is the same type of thing. We've got $30,000, for instance, this year that has been appropriated through the regular budget to handle whatever small type of things come through during the year. But if they do collect on some of the old blight through sales of houses and things like that, and the liens are released and we receive more than what we were expecting to receive in revenue, then we do take that opportunity to go again to Board of Aldermen to request appropriation of that difference of the increase in revenue to do some ongoing blight projects since we have that opportunity.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Through the chair, I do a follow-up on that. So I know in other meetings that we've had, we've talked about the private duty police, and I think with the blight, that also raises another maybe suggestion to maybe keep that out of the general fund and maybe do a special fund for the private duty. I know we do that here, and I know a number of other municipalities do that as well. Just a thought for this way it doesn't get mixed in with the general fund between the private duty and maybe even the blight. We do keep our blight separate here as well. So just a suggestion.
Yes, thank you for that.
We keep ours separate too, also in Woodbridge, our private duty.
Okay.
That we've definitely talked about the blight, Tony and Diane, but I haven't thought about the private duty one. So maybe Diane, if we could talk offline at some point, you can give me some suggestions on how that may work. That I think might be a good thing. I appreciate that. Thank you.
I'm happy to.
Okay. Right. Kim?
Yes.
Other Kim, I think.
I'm sorry. Yes,
That's okay. Thank you. Most of the commissioners have already touched on many of my questions, and one being the schedule that Tony had asked for. That would be helpful for us to pull all of that together. And the other thing, knowing that your audit firm is having some connectivity issues today, could you please ask him to send us an email confirming your report out on the report that the materials that have been received and that they're in agreement on the delivery of the audit by the end of this year. Possibly open items or any concerns that he might have if he is not on board with that delivery date, or if he has something different. He can include you on that email to confirm it. If you want the email to go from you, Kurt, and he piggybacks off of it, that's fine. As long as we get confirmation would be helpful because we don't have a date confirmed by your auditor.
He can hear you. He's
I understand.
texting me
Okay.
right now. He's
Very good.
yelling, "Why can't they hear me? Why can't they hear me?"
Sorry.
So he's yeah, I'll make sure that that's taken care of. So I'll send out an email. I'll copy you, and get that process going.
Very good. Just a confirmation.
Yep, absolutely.
Okay. I just have one follow-up. Kurt, you had mentioned, you know, the contribution coming in from WPCA is kind of serving as a backstop. So, you know, for our next meeting, you know, I think by that point, you will probably have had, you know, time with your auditors and, you know, had the opportunity to, you know, project ultimately what that amount is that you're going to be bringing into fund balance for 2025. And I think having that information will be helpful in tying into the plan that you mentioned through 2030 in regards to mitigating down the future revenues. But I think it'll be beneficial to know that, you do have a good backstop in place, which it sounds like it'll be, put in place with the net proceeds that are coming in from the sale of the WPCA.
Yep, absolutely, Mike. We'll make sure that's included as well. Not a problem.
Okay.
And just I guess more as a process question, since this is our first time. And I know Bill and Kim were very helpful in kind of prepping us and getting us ready for this, and that was certainly appreciated. But is there anything else that, Mike, you or the commission wants to see? Any other people that we should have available for these conversations? It's probably going to be Kim and myself, and John for the most part. But is there other people or other things that you may want to see?
No, I think the three of you would be sufficient, and certainly we would welcome the mayor in attendance as well.
Perfect. Okay, excellent. We just want to make sure we're providing everything that the commission needs so we can get the most out of this and not waste anyone's time. So
if the Board of Ed has an impact on your financials, sometimes it's good for the superintendent to join as well. Sometimes we hear back and forth on that, but depending on the topic.
okay, yeah, he's here today as well. But I can certainly put everyone on an invite and make sure that they're all available when you folks send that out. So thank you. I appreciate that.
Okay. All right. Thank you all for attending, and we'll look forward to receiving the additional information and speaking with you again at the November meeting.
Excellent. Thank you very much, everyone. We appreciate it.
Thank you.
Okay. Next up, we have the City of Derby. And
hello, everyone. Unfortunately, the mayor has some personal family emergency, so he will be unable to attend today's meeting. So I'll be presenting for Derby.
Okay.
Okay.
Brian, it's nice to have you with us again. How are things going?
Things are going great, Mike. Thanks a lot. Busy time, but it's all good. I'll jump right in. Based on the agenda, I'm going to start a little bit with the 23-24 audit. So we were able to complete that by the end of June. As you see from the results, we ended up about with a $1.8 million surplus compared to the $1.4 million that we had last presented. The improvement was mainly due to the Board of Ed operating costs and that initial estimate. As we've spoken about a lot, we have had a lot of difficulty with reconciliations. That's led to delays, and it also leads to some uncertainty around the numbers. Been a little bit conservative with those in the past, just until everything was ironed out. But, net, we got through it, and we got a little bit of a pickup compared to the last time I've presented to this committee. There are still some material geography issues within the audit that need to be addressed from a budget standpoint, specifically the Board of Ed grant revenue and expenses, the WPCA bond debt are a few of the big items that I need to continue to work with and address so that we don't have these large geography issues in the audit reports at the end of the year. But the good news is that we're getting our fund balance back to where it needs to be. We're up to 4.4 million. We'll talk a little bit more about the 25 projections, but I think we're going to add another million there and get us to around the 10% level that we're hoping to be at and then stay at go forward. We did have some fewer deficiencies, which is great, 3 fewer deficiencies, but there is still work to do. We have a new auditor, Claremont and Associates, this year. I do thank Bill for helping us with that search. It was obviously a bit of a challenge trying to do an RFP when you're still finalizing an audit. We had to wait until that was over before we were able to get that locked up, but that is done, and we're all set with our auditor. And then to address a lot of those other issues on the Board of Ed side, they've hired a consultant to continue to assist them with their systems, with their bank recs, with their processes. Because as you've noticed, right, a lot of those deficiencies are still Board of Ed specific issues. I'm very hopeful that with the staffing changes at the city between the finance department and the tax office that are done and completed, and again, hiring these consultants at the Board of Ed, that we're going to be in a much better place this year than in the past as far as the timing goes. While we've still been able to get it done by June, our goal is to get it done December, January. That is the hope. I think we're in good shape to do that. But look, it is a new audit firm. There are still a lot of dependencies on the Board of Ed that have to get worked through. So I'm cautiously optimistic that that will happen. I don't see any risk at all that we would extend past June or be worse than we had been in the past. So it's really just a matter of, can we get it to really where it needs to be for the December, January timeline going forward. I can stop. I'll pause there. Is there anything about the 23-24 audit that we want to talk specifically before I move on to the next bullet point?
I had one question, Chairman.
Yep.
That is regarding, you did say the deficiencies were on the Board of Ed side, and I did see that double entry repeated finding that still is luring out there, but I did not pay attention to whether it was the Board of Ed versus the city side. Are you referring to that where the systems used to be an issue, and I knew that you had changed your software system, so I just wanted to confirm that it wasn't the city side, with knowing that you had put in a new software system under the prior administration, not under yourself.
Yeah, I think in the past, the city was also part of that deficiency. However, this time around, it's now more just focused on the Board of Ed side.
So progress has been made. It's not the same. Yeah, we'll give you that.
Absolutely been progress made. We got rid of a few of the deficiencies and we're chipping away, but there is still work to do for sure.
That's my kudos over to you.
Thank you.
Is there any thought towards bringing the Board of Ed onto your system?
Not at this point, but there has been a lot of talk of trying to consolidate the systems in some way. We have a separate payroll. We have two different payroll systems, two different payroll, people, two different AP systems, two different AP people. So it's not efficient. And other than that, I've got an accounting coordinator and that's it. And Robbie, who's the business manager, has no one to help him on the accounting side. And we're technically fully staffed. So this is what we've got. So I think consolidating the systems is the only way we're going to be able to kind of gain some efficiencies and really help move things forward.
Okay. I don't have any additional questions on the 2024 audit. For the commissioners, I'll just open it up across the board.
I have a question.
Okay.
Mike, I wasn't sure of the date of the findings, but can you comment on the two bank reconciliation related items? There's number 02 and it's later on here, 05, I think it is. They're cash related anyway.
Right. Yeah. The cash related, that has been probably the biggest challenge. Now, this was the 23-24 time period. So, I joined in December of 23. So half of this year wasn't done. The reconciliations had been a problem from the time I started. And they continue to be a problem, even after I was there, just catching up because you get so far behind. It's a similar issue on the Board of Ed side where the reconciliations with their software that they use there, they've really struggled. They don't have the opening balances in. It makes it impossible to do these recs at some level. I feel much better about it on the city side and where we are now. It has taken a little while to get there, but we're there. But at the same time, I am still cleaning up a lot of the cash entries from some of my previous staff. It's probably the most challenging one to kind of work through at this point. Robbie's also doing the same thing on the Board of Ed side. And then ultimately the two coming together, because there is a lot of cash exchange between the two, and that reconciliation is the final piece.
I could see that the from my perspective anyway, that's critical to make sure your cash is being tracked properly, because you could be missing cash, you could be missing, items that are not hitting the bank, or it could be, bogus checks, or what, it could be any number of things could be happening, and you wouldn't really have an idea if you're not reconciled. So I just would stress that, that you try to make, get caught up on all those as best as you can. I know sometimes when we have to reconcile something, I even reconcile it more frequently than I may have to, in order to make sure that I catch any procedural things that are like going wrong, so that I could fix them right away. So anyway, that was my big concern, was the cash.
Yeah, I agree. It's mine as well. I'm not particularly happy with the new software, and that really it doesn't catch as many of the cash entries as you like. There's still a lot of manual entries for those cash entries, which can lead to, as you're talking about, problems and gaps. I feel much better about it now on the tax side, which is where obviously the bulk of the money is. Less so on some of the town clerk receipts and permit fees and some of these other miscellaneous things that can kind of come through, where that's when I've been noticing entries getting missed, and additional monies and things like that. So
yeah, you wouldn't notice if things are missing if you don't have it reconciled,
Right. No, exactly. And we're getting through there and getting them done. I think last year it was a balance between getting this audit done on time, and knowing that this was going to be a deficiency and something that we were just going to have to work through with our auditor. Whereas for 25, I'm expecting to have everything reconciled, be in a much better place. So what we hand over to the auditor, they're not going to have to try to sort through as much of that mess as John has had to do in the past. So
right. Okay. All right. Thank you, Brian.
Mm-hmm.
Brian, just in regards to the 2025 audit, when would you project that you would have the books in good shape for the audit firm?
Yeah, so for the 25 audit, we're finalizing everything now. We've still got a couple entries to get done, but I really hope we can have, the trial balances and the general ledgers done by the end of this month, and to the auditor for them to start their work. I think we're in pretty good shape to do that on the city side. I know everything I've heard from Robbie on the Board of Ed side is he is also in far better shape than he has been in the past to get that accomplished. So, I feel like I'm at least 2 months probably ahead of where I was in prior year. And then I hopefully won't get stuck in the tax office for a month. That won't be happening again this year, and that won't chew up some more time. So I feel much better about it. I think just as a little bit of update on 24, 25 and where we're at with everything, right? So the good news was, again, we're projecting around $1 million surplus, mainly due to a lot of great expense management. Since day one, when Mayor DiMartino came in and hired me, that has been a key focus, making sure his directors aren't just spending their budget just to spend it, right? Really pushing and evaluating all of the purchases regardless of their budget. So we've managed to find a lot of savings in the community development area, public works, library, to name a few. And then we've been fortunate to have some ARPA funds to cover any unbudgeted expenses that we didn't anticipate or that came up, to help kind of offset some things and really create an opportunity for us to get our fund balance back to where it needs to be. You'll notice one big, really large item in there for the purchase of 2 Factory Street, which was a metal recycling facility, really in the heart of our downtown area in Derby. This has been in the works for years, but it's finally got closed on. We've purchased that property with the intention to move it to a different part of Derby and then redevelop the entire downtown area. Which will be, quickly thereafter, we'll start to do an RFP, get some bids out, and really start to grow Derby and get it to what it could potentially be. So that's been very exciting. But again, you might notice some large numbers on both revenue, because we did have some grant money that came through to help us with that purchase. So you'll see some higher grant revenue and some higher expenses associated with that. But like I said, all in all, I expect to finish this year north with a 25 audit north of the 10% level when it comes to our fund balance. And I am so hopeful that our deficiencies can be reduced to I'd love to be none. That's our goal, obviously. We'll see.
Have you had an audit planning meeting with your new firm yet?
The new firm has been into the city with me for one day and kind of started looking through some of the disbursements and done some initial testing on that. I spent 3 days at the Board of Ed, again, doing something similar. So the work is kicked off and started, but obviously the bulk of it will get done once we get the trial balance and the general ledger up for them in the shared folders.
Okay. And your budget that's in play now for fiscal 2026, was there any projected use of fund balance in that budget?
So the 26 budget, I'll just move on to that quickly. We have a couple $100,000 in there, which we call it working balance. I guess technically it would be use of fund balance if it comes to fruition, where we keep it as a little bit of a reserve in case unexpected things come up. Hopefully it's really just shifting of monies around and we don't have to use that. But worst comes to worst, I think about $360,000 in there that we kind of have for that reserve in case we need to. But some other budget highlights, right? We've got no increase to the mill rate in the 25-26 budget, which was really key. We had a large increase the year before, but we think we're able to right size where we are with our tax revenues relative to our expenses, especially after all of the expense management that Mayor DiMartino and myself have been working so hard on. We have a little bit of upside compared to the budget with some of the changes to the motor vehicles that occurred with some of the new valuations. That happened a little bit later in the cycle, so we didn't get that in the budget. So I expect another, again, a couple $100,000 in there to use as some cushion as some other things come up. And then overall, our assumptions for collection rates were, in line with our historical norms, but our new tax collector has just done a tremendous job of really going after some of the back taxes that were due and just instilling better processes within that department and some best practices as far as collections go. So we're up in collection rates in 24 compared to what we had thought. And then our 25 budget was even a little bit below where we're trending for 24. So I think there's even potentially a little bit of upside there to work off of. But, again, that's just, it's so important to have the right staff in your team, right? Because you can talk about staffing levels, but if you don't have the right people and the right talent, it doesn't matter. So getting the right folks in the right seats is probably more important than the number of people in most cases. But
right,
is there anything else, anything else budget related you'd like to talk about?
No, I appreciate the thorough update, Brian. In the interest of time, I'll just open it up across the board for the commissioners. Does anyone have a follow-up question for Brian?
I do. This is Marcia. You're not doing the reconciliations on time. I understand that. But to follow up on Tony's concern, do you use positive pay?
Yes, we do use positive pay to make sure that we don't have any fraudulent checks going out. So we do have those checks in place.
All right. And have you converted to payee positive pay?
I don't believe so. I don't think it's set at the payee positive pay level.
That we have found is very important from what we're seeing happening. And then the second one is with respect to the system and the double entry, it had said in our packet that you've installed new software, accounting software at both the town and the Board of Ed. Is that going to, is it the same software for each? And is that going to solve the double entry system?
So we only really had the new software on the city side, and that did take care of the double entry problems with the city. The Board of Ed has had the same software now for a number of years, and I think that is more of they just have to do some more work on their end from really more just accounting and journal entries to fix that problem.
Can you, on ours, when we had that with one of our funds, the Board of Ed was able to do theirs on a cash basis, and then we would convert it on an accrual basis on our system. Would you be able to do something like that?
I have thought about that, right? Really just putting almost trying to mirror what's going on their system, on our system. I'm waiting a little bit longer to see the progress that the Board of Ed is making on their system with their consultants before I try to get that done. There's a lot of other things that need to get accomplished if we're going to get this audit done on time. And I know for sure, while that would be, likely really helpful, to me, it's going to be kind of a last resort type thing if I'm finding out that the Board of Ed's not as far along as I would have liked.
Okay. That's all my questions.
Okay. Anyone else? Okay, Brian, I think we're good. And, hopefully for our next meeting, you'll be in a position where the audit hopefully is, in a really good place, and perhaps you'll be in a position to issue before the end of the calendar year.
I hope so.
All right,
Great work, Brian, and your team.
All right. Thank you very much, everyone. I appreciate your advice and time as always.
Thanks, Brian.
Thank you.
Okay, the next item on the agenda is with the town of Hamden. Do we have Mayor Garrett with us today?
Hello, good morning.
Good morning. How are you today?
I'm doing well. I'll just run through some of the items in the agenda, if that's all right.
Yeah, that would be fine.
Okay, all right. So we are still down a finance director, and we think that adding an accountant could probably help us speed things up with the audit and next year's audit as well. So we're putting together for the Legislative Council to approve a budget transfer. We have to also investigate some different modules that we think could be beneficial for adding to Munis that can help us with some reporting that we need to do. So putting together the budget for adding onto Munis as well as an additional accountant so that we can get that through the Legislative Council. But with me not running for re-election and being so close to the election, I can't provide an employment contract for a finance director to come in, which leaves us in a difficult position in terms of being able to hire a finance director at this time. We have our former auditor, David Capoletti. He and usually one or two other accountants are in the finance office for a few days each week. And they've been helping us for, I would say, 6 to 8 weeks now. And they are primarily helping us get the fiscal year 24 audit finalized. We had an issue with our fiscal year 23 ending balance, which our new auditor needed, obviously. And so our former auditor has been in helping to get that taken care of and reconcile the trial balances so that we can finish all of that. I spoke with David Capoletti yesterday afternoon, and he said that they should be done by the end of this current week to get all of those trial balances over to the new auditor so that we can move forward. Let's see. So fiscal year 24, we're expecting roughly $10 million in surplus, leaving our fund balance in really good shape at the end of fiscal year 24. And then we talked a little bit about the fiscal year 24 audit timeline. We also had to get some work done at the Board of Education. I think that the requirements from the auditor was a little bit more than they were anticipating. So there was also a lot of work that the Board of Ed had to do to wrap up fiscal year 24. The good news is that because our accountant and finance staff in the town doesn't really need to do much with regard to fiscal year 24 because our previous auditors are doing that. Our finance department has been working on fiscal year 25 for the last couple of months. So that is going much better, and we're in much better shape for preparing for fiscal year 25 and getting all of that information to the auditors. We haven't started sending stuff over at all, but because I think the portal for fiscal year 24 is still open, but we are in much better shape moving on to fiscal year 25 to get that audit done. Do you have any questions on that, or do you want me to get into the current fiscal year with the budget and phase in?
I think just one follow-up on 2024. So is the auditor lined up and ready to come in?
So we have an auditor. I think he's on the call. It's CBIZ. So yes, they're all lined up. We have a contract with them for 3 years. So that should be good. We've been keeping them updated on our progress. They know that the former auditor is in the building regularly and trying to get the trial balances completed.
Okay. Could the auditor just speak on what they're projecting from a timeline standpoint? Because it sounds like you will have all the trial balance information into them, be it this week or within short order.
Yes.
Sure. Good morning, everyone. Thanks for having me on here. I've spoken at length with the finance committee and with the finance department on timeline. I think the expectation is that we're going to be getting a trial balance over the next couple of weeks here, and the goal is to fit the 2024 audit into our schedule, similar to how we would have initially fit the 2025 audit, right? Because this is that time of year. So I think the goal is to replace the timeline of 25 with 24 and hopefully get to the end of the calendar year with a completed 2024 audit so that we can begin 25.
Okay. Okay. For the commissioners, anything else on the 2024 audit? Okay. All right, Mayor, what's up next?
All right. So we have an adopted town-approved fiscal year 26 budget. It includes a phase-in over 4 years. And we have a mill rate of 51.88, and that's with the phase-in, a 98% collection rate. And this budget uses fund balance as well as assumes townwide savings. So the fund balance is $9 million into the fiscal year 26 budget, as well as $7 million in townwide savings.
Did you mention as far as a potential surplus for 2025?
2025, no, I didn't mention that. We don't expect a surplus whatsoever. The budget was a challenging budget for us for fiscal year 25, and required a transfer in from fund balance. So fund balance is used in 25 and then also in 26.
And on the 7 million in the townwide savings, where is it thought that that's going to come from?
I am doing my best to have a kind of a soft freeze on hiring. We're hiring only essential employees, and I'm trying to slow down hiring. There are also there's some spending that we're able to cut that isn't contractual. So I'm doing my best to only spend on what is contractual, and everything else that I believe is good for the town, but not contractual, I'm not spending that money. I don't believe that I'll be able to satisfy the entire $7 million. Well, you know, I'm only going to be here for 2.5 months at this point, but at any rate, I'm doing the best I can to reduce spending during those 2.5 months. I don't believe it's possible to get that 7 million, and we'll do the best that we can.
Okay. I'm going to open it up to the commissioners. Tony?
I have no questions. Thank you, Mike.
Okay, Marcia?
Something like your ADAC payments on pension and OPEB may not be contractual. Are you cutting any of those as part of the 7 million?
Our pension payment is contractual because the town took out pension obligation bonds, so we're required to pay those payments, and they'll be paid.
Perfect.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Becky?
Marcia just asked my question, so I'm all set, thanks.
Ed?
Yeah, just quickly, I just trying to do some quick math here. I think you said there was a $10 million surplus from 24 budget, and then we're going to use 16 million in 25 of the fund balance, and then we're going to use another 9 million in 26 of the fund balance, and then we also have another $7 million of cost savings that we have to implement as well.
That's correct.
Okay. So basically for 25, 26, we're $16 million of fund balance, cost savings to make the budget balance is what we're saying.
Potentially, and I'll do my best to make it less.
And Mayor, I'm sorry, how much was projected to be used for 2025 of fund balance?
15 to 16 million, that's correct.
What was there a projected use of fund balance with that budget?
There was, and then we had tax collection that didn't come in as strong, as well as some other revenues that were weak.
Okay.
Also, we had to transfer from the fund balance to cover pension payments that increased.
Through the ADEC? Or
Yes, both ADAC and SEMERS.
Okay. Ed, did you have anything else?
I'm all set, thanks.
Okay. Diane?
Two things. Mike, you asked the question I was looking at too, the $7 million in townwide savings, where that was going to come from. So general idea, I think it's a huge goal to try to find 7 million, but I wish you the best of luck and hope you can do it. With using so much of fund balance, do you have an estimate of where your fund balance will be at the end of, say, June 30th of 25, using all of this towards the budget in the next year and last year?
Do you mean June 30th, 26?
Well, June 30th, 25, and where that might bring you to June 30th, 26, because if you're using it in the current year budget as well.
Yes. So the fiscal year 24 audit will bring us to I believe around like 47 million or so.
Okay.
And then because we'll use about 15 to 16 million for fiscal year 25, that brings us to about 22 or so million at the end of fiscal year 25, which has us right at about the 7%, which is our fund balance policy. For the year end fiscal year 26, June 30th of 26, we're projecting to be down around about 10 million or so.
Okay.
And with the 26 budget, were any of the projections on the revenue side modified based on the experience that occurred in 2025?
Yes. So the red light camera revenue was reduced. And I believe tipping, what was it? The transfer station fees, I believe, were reduced a little bit as well.
Okay. Diane, anything else?
No, just, concerned that fund balance is getting down as low as it is over the next couple of years. I mean, Hampton had made such great progress over the last few years, but I know it was very difficult budget. So just, I think something for the commission to monitor as they continue to come before us.
Kim?
Mayor, knowing that our next meeting is May 19th, I'm assuming that you would not be attending that meeting, or is this your last meeting? I don't know the dates. I apologize.
November 19th?
Yes.
So my term ends November 30th, so I would be here.
Very good. Okay. I just wanted to find out if that what the case was. Again, as Commissioner Walden had mentioned, Diane, I am alarmed to hear all of this, and also very saddened to hear the turn in the about face, because I know that this has been a lot of years of work with this town of Hamden, and so I'm very sad to see that, because with a blink of an eye and decisions and not looking at the outward vision and which is very necessary when you are looking at financials. And I do know that you did a good job of towing that rope and holding people accountable for that. I am it's going to be continued work for the town of Hamden, and I hope that it does not fall further behind, is my wish. It's going to elevate some levels of concern. But thank you for your hard work through these years and working with us and listening and making the changes, because we've spent a lot of time together on this, and I think that not having the staff that you needed has been very challenging for you and your team in finance.
Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah, especially over the last year, it's unfortunate that you've had to deal with that staffing issue. Mayor, I do also want to thank you. We've been engaged with you for several years, and a lot of progress has been made, and you've been generous with the commission with being transparent and forthcoming with the information. And again, it's difficult when you're dealing with a finance director vacancy.
Thank you.
Okay. In anticipation of the next meeting, I think it, certainly, hopefully that the 2024 audit is in a good place. And then it sounds like with what you had described earlier that 2025 may be on the heels of that with the work that your staff is doing on the 2025 financials.
Yes. Yeah, I'm hopeful there.
Okay. All right, thank you, Mayor.
Thank you.
Okay, our last town for the day is the town of Plymouth.
And Mike, for the record, Town of Plymouth is a Milliman client.
Okay, thanks, Becky. So do we have Mayor Kilduff with us and Finance Director Dora?
Yes. Good. It just turned noon, so good afternoon, everybody.
Afternoon. Yeah, I'm sorry. Thanks, Mayor, for bringing that up. Commissioners, are you okay going into overtime today?
Yes.
I do have a hard stop at 12:30, Mike.
Hope to be done before that for sure. Okay, Mayor, welcome. Why don't you start off with an update on your end?
Sure. Year end, well, we're still hopefully just about to finish the fiscal 24 audit. I believe the schedule that was sent out to you had a goal of September 30th. All of our open items have been sent to the auditor, so unless there's anything new that comes back to us with any additional requests, we're hopeful that we'll be able to finalize the 24 audit by the end of this month. And then we're going to roll right into the 25 with the goal of making the December 31st deadline. But I would definitely say that it would go no longer than the first quarter of the next year. Some good news. It looks like our fund balance increased again for fiscal year 24, up over 10 million. And a preliminary look at 25 also sees another increase up over 11. So our fund balance continues to grow. A lot of that the last 2 years has been a combination of moving our accounts into a much higher interest-bearing account. So the first year when we did it, we didn't budget any of that revenue because that was a mid-year decision. And then the second year, we were very conservative with our estimates, and those revenues came in a lot stronger. So this year for fiscal year 26, we budgeted a significantly larger portion of what we anticipate for the actual revenue for those investments. So I don't see as big of a surplus in the next few years coming, but it certainly helped to bring up that fund balance even more over the last couple of years. So overall, our fund balance and our financials look strong and continue. And hopefully if we can get this audit done on time, that'll put us right where we need to be. And so we're excited about that. Our staff is working diligently, very impressed with our new finance director and the team that we have here, and just very hopeful for the future.
How are things looking on closing the books for 2025 and having all the reconciliations complete?
Well, I'll let Finance Director Dora get into the exact details of that, but we are reconciling monthly with our bank accounts, and so that's been ongoing. And so most of the reconciliations now catching up on would be journal entries. So I think that that's what they're concentrating on, but I'll let VJ speak to that a little bit more. If he can get off mute. Hold on one second. Let me see what the issue is. Just give me 1 second, please.
Okay.
He just stepped out for a quick minute. Oh, there he is. You having an issue with your? Okay. All right. You want to? So they won't unmute you?
They.
You have to.
I can,
Yeah, he's having an issue with his being unmuted. So hold on one second. He's just going to come in here.
Okay.
You can come in here, BJ. They just want to know about you. You can sit.
Good afternoon. Good afternoon, everybody. My name is Vijay Dora. I'm, Director of Finance in Town of Plymouth. As far as the bank reconciliation, we have, we have about like 20 something different accounts. We have reconciled all of them until July of 2025. So we are working now on August, the bank reconciliation. And other than that, because in the past, these accountants and all never got involved with the audit process. Now they're more involved and, they understand things better. So all the items that we need for reconciliation, that will move forward. And as the mayor said, our goal is to finish the audit for 2025 by December. And if it is late, it could be due to something pending open items. But we have good experience of what is required by CBIZ. So we will make sure that we prepare all of those beforehand.
Okay. Is your auditor on the call by any chance?
Yes, Kyle should be here.
All right. So hello again,
Yes.
Kyle.
Hello.
Kyle, do you have the town of Plymouth lined up in your schedule before the end of the year?
We do. We're expecting to get about 8 to 10 journal entries from them for some full accrual, receivable, payable balances over probably this week, VJ.
Well,
which
we submitted, yeah. So we have finished all the, journal entries for those.
Oh, that came over great. Okay.
Okay, yeah.
So we're expecting to digest that this week to help wrap up the 2024 audit. And we have plans to fit them in our schedule for 2025.
Okay. All right, commissioners, I'll just open it across the board. Does anyone have any follow-up questions?
No.
Okay. Mayor, certainly the results are very strong, and with having a good fund balance in place as you go forward, and the news, if certainly we look forward to getting the 2024 audit in as soon as possible, and with any luck, and maybe it'll come together for 2025 by the end of the year. In the event that it doesn't, I would just encourage to try and get it knocked out early on in that subsequent 2026 year. A January, February submission, if it's not December, would be ideal.
Sure. Correct. And I would just like to say that my term is up before our next meeting. So if my reelect is not successful, I don't anticipate that, but if it is not, I just would like to say that I've enjoyed working with all of you, and I very much appreciate the advice and all the help that you've given me and my team over the last 4 years. And so it's been a pleasure working with all of you. And I hope to continue that, but just in case, I wanted to say that to get it on the record. So thank you.
Thank you, Mayor. Okay.
Thank
Kim,
you,
are-
Mayor, and for all of your good work. And I'm going to anticipate that we will see you again so we can continue with that. I'm not a political gal, so I don't even know, but I just want to continue to see the town of Plymouth move forward. Just would want to echo the chairman's pitch on the audits, and if you can really put a lot of effort forward in getting these audits completed in a timely manner, it will be for the benefit of the town of Plymouth, because you were this close.
Yes.
This close to leaving us.
Yes.
And
Yes.
I would like you back there again. Thank
Yeah,
you.
well, thank you.
Okay, thank you. In the category of other business, I would just draw our attention to the draft MFAC guidelines. Bill is going to be reissuing the draft, incorporating comments that have been received to date. And the ask is, to the extent that the commissioners and myself can find time in our schedules, would be to provide any final comments so that at our November meeting, we'll be in a position to adopt the guidelines, and then they can be issued at that point in time. Kim, Bill, is there anything else for the commission?
Just one thing rather quickly, unless Bill has something more to add. I wanted to bring to your attention that in the 2025 legislative session, Public Act number 25-174, section number 138, requires that the town in the city, the mayor of the city of Bridgeport shall submit a report to the Municipal Finance Advisory Commission and appear before the commission. And so not later than September 1st, the mayor was to provide Bridgeport a report to this commission. It has been received by OPM, and provide a plan to a corrective action plan to ensure that the city will not require supplemental, additional educational grant and aid in the future. And so we have received the plan. We are in the process of going through that review, and the city of Bridgeport is required to appear before this commission before December 31st of this year. So they will be on the agenda for the November meeting. So I wanted to bring that to your highlight. We will get the report and the information out ahead of time. And it's really about closing the gap so that they don't need additional funds. And there was one other item on the Public Act 25-174, section number 139, and that is that 7 municipalities, I'm just gonna go right to the details of it, were required to meet with the Secretary of OPM and to discuss municipalities that have requested and will be receiving additional state funding, and in fiscal year 26 and 27, those municipalities are required to meet with the Office of Policy and Management, the Secretary, prior to October 1st, and those 7 municipalities will begin meeting with the Secretary and the OPM team staff from the MFAC. That starts next week and through the end of September. And that's my report out. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Kim. Anything else for the good of the order from the commissioners?
Mike,
I do.
I
do not.
Great, Kim. I wanted to let everyone know that I'm going to be retiring next March, and therefore resigning from this group. It's been my real pleasure to serve on the MFAC for these years. And I wanted to give you plenty of advance notice. It's not till March, so there's still another, at least one meeting, probably two, that I will be joining you for.
Okay. Thanks for the heads up, Becky. But yeah, certainly we'll look forward to having you for the next two meetings anyway, before you're off to hopefully a very long and enjoyable retirement.
Well, I spent 40 years helping other people save for a secure retirement, and it's now time for me to enjoy mine.
Okay. All right. Well, commissioners, Kim and Bill, thank you for your time today. And we'll plan to see you on November 19th.
Thank you.
Okay. So I will entertain a motion to adjourn.
So move, Kim Kennison.
Second.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Support? All right. Thanks, everyone. Have a good day.
Thank you.
Thank you, Chair.